All right, I'm going to take a wild guess that the reason you clicked on this video is you're in sales or real estate and you've got a ton of leads coming in, whether you're hunting them on your own, you're on a team and they've got leads coming in, and you're completely confused on how do I effectively follow up with them. Now in sales, one of the most important things that you can learn is how to follow up effectively. I've done this for 15 years. I've worked in 40 different markets all over the United States. I've had tons of leads. I even coached a guy recently in Salt Lake City, Utah. He went out and prospected for 30 days. He had over 2,500 leads from door knocking. And the next question then becomes, how in the world do I manage all these? How do I follow up properly so that nobody's falling through the cracks? Because you're working really hard. You're either paying money for leads, and so you're out that cost, or you're exchanging your time and going and prospecting for these. And so you don't want to let these go to waste. Now, granted, as we talk about this today, it's very important you understand that yes, follow-up is so important. You need to have all these systems that we're going to break down. And if you do, your business will completely take off. I've got realtors right now that I'm working with all over the United States that are closing deals off of long-term follow-up. All that is so important. But the most important thing that we'll talk about today, you need what I call now business. You have to have people that are ready now. And everybody else, have a system in place so that you don't let them fall through the cracks. One of the wildest statistics that you'll ever run into is 48% of you never follow up a second time with a lead. That's crazy. Spend all this money, all this time prospecting for that lead, and then half of you aren't following up. Now, what's crazy about that is 80% of sales are closed between the 5th and 12th contact. That means most of the leads that you have, they're going to close at some point. You just aren't following up enough. So today what we're going to cover is why you have to follow up. And then I'm going to break down my unique custom system that nobody else has in the real estate industry. I came up with this as I grew my real estate business. I closed 7 deals my first month, 25 my first 6 months, 75 my first year, all using this follow-up method. You're going to get the exact blueprint of how to do this so you can close more people through effective follow-up. I even have an ebook on this. I just created, it's completely free. You'll want to comment that word down below once I give that out in this episode, and I'll send that out to you. That way you have the exact blueprint that we'll lay out here in today's video. All right, what's up guys? Super excited for this one. I was just recently asked if I could do an episode on this. Now, if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that a while back I did an episode on this, but a lot of time has passed. I've trained on this multiple times. I've called you. I've done podcasts. I've done guest speaking all over the United States. I've got a new coaching group, a new brokerage group, all these realtors that I'm training. So the perspective will be a little bit different. Hence, let's readdress this. We're going to be a lot more specific. I'm going to give away the entire farm today. Make sure you grab your notes. Nobody in real estate will train you on follow-up like this. Why? Because most of the time, you're going to be told to categorize your leads into hot, warm, and nurture. Now, when I heard that for the first time, I was like, what in the world is that? How do you differentiate between hot and warm? What are the different follow-up systems for nurture? Why in the world would I prioritize someone that's not going to close in a year? I had all these questions. For me, following up with people was completely new. I had just come from a door-to-door background, traveling all over the United States in different markets, having to sell a lot of security systems in a 4-month span. So if you weren't going to buy from me when I knocked on your door, you were essentially dead to me. I did not want to follow up with you. I knew I had one shot to close you. I would close you, give you the best deal, whatever offer I needed to present, and then I was gone and I would go close your neighbors. And so follow-up wasn't part of my sales career. So when I got in real estate, I realized that I needed to develop this, but the current system didn't make sense. So for me, I came up with what we'll talk about today. And there are realtors all over Canada, all over the US, all over the world that are crushing it because they're reorganizing and re-looking at how they do lead follow-up. So before we jump into this, let me show you how bad this is. Because again, if there's no problem to be solved, then why even have this episode? But there's a huge problem. Let me walk you through it. And I want you to ask yourself, do you fall into these categories? So statistically speaking, nearly half of realtors give up after the first contact. A staggering 48% of realtors never even attempt to follow up after an initial interaction, leaving valuable opportunities on the table. The next one, customers often say no before saying yes. A whopping 60% of customers say no 4 times before finally accepting a sales offer. This means giving up after the first no is a missed opportunity. You have to hang in there. Next, phone calls. They still matter. 75% of online shoppers, buyers, sellers, even investors actually want a phone call before companies give up on them. This shows that a personal touch can go a long way in building trust and making a good first impression. Take a look at this diagram. I found this online and I saw it all over the web in regards to lead follow-up. Check out these statistics. How crazy is this? 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect. 25% of salespeople make a second contact and stop. 12% of salespeople only make 3 contacts and stop. Only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts. 2% of sales are made on the first contact, 3% on the second, 5% on the third, 10% on the fourth, and 80% between the 5th and the 12th. So, is there an issue in the real estate industry as well as sales? Yes, 100%. It's the ability to follow up. Now, there's 2 things that are probably preventing you, and hopefully we solve that today. One, you don't have a follow-up system, and so that's why you don't do it. A confused mind will always say no. If the path isn't clear of how to do an activity, then your subconscious will kick in and start to give you reasons to avoid it because it doesn't want you to fail. And so having a clear path, knowing exactly what to do when a lead comes in and how to handle them and nurture them until they're ready to go will allow you to then do it. You'll be more encouraged to do the activity. The second reason is probably because you don't have enough leads. If you don't have enough leads, you don't have to follow up with them. Or you maybe have 5 and you have one seller that's going to sell in 4 months and you're so excited, you prep and wait until that person's ready. So you don't really need a follow-up system because they said they're going to sell with you in a couple months. Well, fast forward and now they don't. So wherever you are on the spectrum, hopefully today we solve all these problems as we dive into follow-up. Now, before we jump into this, there's 5 governing principles, universal laws that will always apply to better follow-up. So jot these down. As we jot these down, ask yourself, which one of these am I not really understanding, or which one of them am I not getting behind? Because we'll break down the entire follow-up system today and you'll know exactly what to do. But if you can't grasp the paradigm understanding of follow-up and why it's important and how to do it effectively, then the plan, the blueprint won't matter. So let me put these on the screen. I'm going to walk you through these. So the first one is persistence is key. The statistics highlight that consistent follow-up is crucial for real estate success. While many realtors give up too early, those who persistently engage with potential customers, even after facing initial objections, are far more likely to close deals. So you have to be persistent. That is the name of the game. Now, persistence doesn't mean you give all your attention to these guys. Real estate isn't an alarm cell. It's not a pest control cell. It's not even a solar cell. You can't get someone from a -10 all the way to a +10 on selling their home simply because you knocked on their door. A lot of it has to do with timing. So take care of those guys. Be persistent, but don't give them all of your attention, which is what we'll talk about today. The second principle is don't be afraid of no. More than half of customers say no 4 times before finally accepting an offer. Giving up after the first no is a missed opportunity. Embrace persistence and understand that multiple follow-ups are often necessary. So if you have someone that is a couple months out, don't give up on them. Don't let them go. Be persistent. Realize that it might take a couple chances in order for them to transact with you. The third principle, speed matters. When you knock on someone's door and you go to follow up with them for the first time, or a DM comes on social media and you go up to follow up with them the first time, or you have a website link lead come in and you go to follow up with them for the first time. It doesn't matter. The speed to that first response is so important. Responding quickly shows you're on top of things and grabs the prospect's attention while their interest remains fresh. Realtors who reach out within an hour of receiving an inquiry are 7 times more likely to qualify the lead than those who wait 24 hours or longer. So if you have prospecting methods going out into your market, whether it's YouTube, social media, ads, your door knocking, open houses, however you're getting leads, ability to respond quickly right after they then reach back out with you is absolutely crucial. You have to be aware and have the systems in place in order to reach out to them, which is what we'll talk about today. The next one is respect customer preferences. People appreciate scheduled calls, and a pressure-free sales approach. Building trust and rapport through genuine communication is key. Make sure, and we'll talk about it today, that when you get a lead, understand when works best to follow up with them and what method of communication is the best. Do you want to be texted, emailed, phone calls, DM on social media, and what time of the day and during the week is usually the easiest to get a hold of you? Qualify those two pieces and it'll make the whole process a lot simpler. The last one is email follow-up. Don't give up after one email. Sending more follow-up emails increases your chances of getting a response, even if you don't hear back initially. Moral of the story, do not give up on people. You need to have a fine balance of now business and all these in the pipeline that'll eventually come because their timeline just isn't hot right now. If you give up too soon, you're missing on a massive opportunity. I have multiple realtors that have under contracts right now that I'm coaching or that are on the real estate brokerage team that they followed up for 6 months, a year and a half, and now finally they're transacting. The only difference again is that they didn't put all their attention on it, but they had a system in place to follow up with them. When the lead was ready, they transacted and now they're under contract or they have their house listed. Okay, so now that you understand the ideas, the philosophies, the laws that govern effective follow-up, now let's transition into how do you actually do this. Grab your notes. If you've watched my stuff before, you know we're going to have a funnel. We're going to have that broken down. And remember, you're looking for the word for the free packet that I'll give out so that you can have the blueprint in order to go do this in your market. All right, so now we're getting into the nitty-gritty stuff. So grab your notes. There's 2 different funnels that I'm going to explain that'll make follow-up so much easier. Then we're going to talk about the schedule of how to follow up. And then we're going to talk about 5 things to do when you go to follow up. Because we've all had those annoying texts when someone reaches out and it's like, hey, I'm just following up. I'm just following up. I'm just following up. There's a better way to do it. So if we look at your real estate business as a marketing company, you're the product that we're trying to put into the market. The first issue you have is nobody knows who you are. Alex talks about this all the time. Your number one issue every day is obscurity. You need to get out of obscurity and you need to go into awareness. So how do you do that? Well, you can run strategic ads. If you want information on that, go follow Luke Dobson, a coach that I've hired previously. You can have YouTube just like this in front of you. If you need a YouTube platform or a company for help, reach out to Blueform Media. They run all my YouTube content. You might have social media, organic reach in your market, or you might be door knocking, calling physical expireds, doing open houses, whatever the cause is, you have this outreach into the market to get out of obscurity. Then what you're going to do is Jimmy Conover has coined this term as hand raisers. You have all this going out. People are going to reach back to you and they're going to essentially raise their hand in ways that you might not be recognizing. One of them might be new followers, freemiums that you're giving out like packets in this video, also listings, referrals, story polls, etc. All these different things that you're doing encourages them to click on something, reach back out to you to say, hey, I'm ready to go. Once you reach out back to them, the issue you're going to run into again is not everybody is ready. So this is the issue that I ran into when I first got my real estate license. I realized that there were a lot of these that I was talking to a ton of people, but they weren't all ready right now. So what I did is I thought to myself, well, why don't we just put these people on a timeline, have a different follow-up system based off of timeline and motivation. I don't care about anything else. I need to figure out what is your timeline of motivation. I'll have a category for each of you and I'll have a different follow-up system. And that's how I'll follow up with you. So once you understand the marketing funnel and how business is acquired and at what point do you need to follow up, now we're going to transition to the second funnel. This is a strategy that I've come up with to train realtors all over the world in regards to effective follow-up. For simplicity purposes, I call this the timeline and motivation follow-up funnel. You can't get simpler than that. Okay, so how this works is here's the funnel on the screen. Most people that are funneling in on the top, they're just not ready, and that's okay. When all these people come in from all the different lead sources, you're looking for now business. That's going to be your A category at the bottom. The A category is anybody under 45 days. These are buyers that are hot and ready to go. They're buyers that you've sent to your lender and they're pre-qualified. They're sending you homes. These are listings that you have an appointment. It's an expired, the FSBO, or you went on the appointment, they haven't signed yet. These are your golden goose. These are the ones that we're all searching for. That means they're going to get the luxury treatment. Timeline-wise, you're going to pull up your calendar and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you're going to reach out to them. Why? Because you have to stay top of mind. It's the same thing when you're on social media or you're trying to buy something off Amazon. The second you open up a cart and you add things to it and you leave that website, you're going to get hit over and over and over again, reminding you to come back and make that purchase. It's the exact same thing. So if you get someone and you're talking to them and you pull out timeline and motivation and you see, hey, they're in the A category, then you're going to simply follow up with them every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday until they're ready to go. The second category, all these leads coming into this funnel, is going to be someone that might be 3 or 4 months out. You've all seen these before where you get someone that's like, I'm 3 or 4 months out, or we're in the winter, I'm going to sell in the spring, or we're going into the fall and they're like, hey, we're going to wait through the winter and sell in January. These are your B category. They're not aggressive. There's a couple months out. They really don't want to be pushed, but also like they're only a couple months out, so you don't want to lose them. Now, sometimes you have a pre-qualified buyer or listing or an investor that seems like that A, but they're not engaging back with you. They're not actively wanting to see homes. They're not responding to your messages every other day. I would take those people and put them in the B category. Ideally, in that A category, you're going to want 8 to 12 people. That's what you're hunting. That's a healthy pipeline when you have 8 to 12 people in that A category that are seeing homes, potential listings, or investors that could go under contract. That B category, you're going to have up to about 25 people in there. That way, you know, in a couple months, I've got a good, healthy pipeline of people that I could close. They're not now business, but they'll happen here in a couple months. For the follow-up with the B category, these are going to be once a week. They do not need more than that. Every Monday on your calendar, right after the A's, you're going to call the B category. Hey, how's it going? Wanted to touch base with you. How was your weekend? Is there anything real estate related you need from me this week? And that's it, guys. Do not give them any more time. That is all the time that they need. The third category on the pillar is you're going to get all these leads coming in, and these are the ones that are 6 months out. They're not really aggressive right now. They might have a vacation, or they might need to do some remodeling, or they might need something on their timeline where they're like, yeah, we're 6 months out. So the C category, what you're going to do is the first day of each month, you're going to pull up your calendar, the first through the third. You're going to print off your entire C list, and you're going to call them. And every time you make contact with them, take a highlighter and scratch out their name. The C category changes a ton. You want to make sure you stay top of mind, check in with them, make sure that they're okay. Most people are going to tell you to do an email to these guys, but because they change so often, I want to hear their voice and I want to talk to them one-on-one once a month. And that's it. Don't give them any more time than that. All right. The next part of the funnel is going to be your D category. The D category is for those that are a year or two years out. Now, I once was coached and mentored by Steve Powers, and I had a lot of realtors that I worked with that were also mentored and coached by him. And one thing that he always talked about was you should not have anybody in your pipeline farther out than 2 years to keep it clean, healthy, and alive. I love that, and I've applied it ever since. So the D category is only if they're a year to 2 years out. These guys, you should have a VA or something automated where they get that monthly email. Those are the ones that just need the touch. They're too far out. You just need to stay top of mind so that when they are ready, you can move them from the D category to the C, talk to them once a month, move them to the B once a week, move them to the A every other day, and then now you close them. Now, the top part of the funnel, in my opinion, the most important part of the funnel is investors. You have to be hunting and organizing your leads for investors. They should have their own category. Most investors are going to go buy 4 to 6 properties a year. You need 5 investors to buy 3 properties. That's 15 deals a year. That's $150,000 on an average $10,000 commission in your pocket off of 5 clients. I categorize my investors these 2 ways. I advise that you do the same. The first one is I have an exclusive WhatsApp chat for hot investors. When I talk to an investor, I'll simply say, hey, how would you want me to follow up with you? I can put you in my exclusive WhatsApp chat where investors are buying 2 to 4 properties a year, and I send the best deals in there once a week. The reason that works really well is what investor isn't going to want to be in an exclusive group with other investors that I said are doing 2 to 3 deals, which signals that they have to be doing 2 to 3 deals to get access to that group. They're going to want to come in there and get the best deals. Those are the ones that I can interact with and convert quickly. I've got a realtor I'm working with right now in Arizona. He's got 4 just closed, 4 under contract, 4 listings coming, and 3 off-market properties under contract because he prioritizes this pillar. The second way to categorize them is a simple monthly email with best deals. So if they say no to that group, I'm going to simply say, okay, well, the second alternative is I can just send you out a monthly email, put you on a basic drip. And if you ever see anything, just let me know. So I basically put it into their hands, make them reach out to me. So if you pull up your calendar, this is what it should look like. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. For an hour a day, you should be doing follow-up. The first part of that hour is going to be your A category, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The second part on Monday is going to be your B category. The third part is going to be the D category on Monday. And then the first through the third every month, you're going to dial and reach out to that C category once a month and make sure you get them on the phone. Everybody else, forget. You got to let them go. Why? Because they're not ready. You have so much attention every day. Give it to the people that are closer on their timeline and they have high motivation. Everybody else, slowly spread them out. If they're farther out than 2 years, in my opinion, I'm not in the data collection business, nor are you. So don't take their information. Follow them on social media, have them follow you. And because you're staying top of mind, because they're seeing your ads, because they're seeing your YouTube, they'll reach out when they're ready because they see you as the authority figure. There's no need to overflow your database with people that are simply just not ready or will never do any business with you. I want to know my database will convert every 1 to 2 years with how many people I have inside of it. The last thing I want to talk about, and you've made it this far, congrats. The word for this packet is going to be timeline and motivation, why you want it, and then shoot me a DM on Instagram. And I'll send you the full blueprint of everything we've talked about today. The last thing I want to talk about is what do you say when you reach out? I get asked this all the time. For me, I have 5 things I rotate through. I have this printed out on a sheet. It's on my desk. When I pull up my follow-up boss or Lawfully, Excel, whatever software you use for follow-up, it'll tell me I did number 2 last time, so I need to do number 3. I did number 4 last time, I'm going to do number 5. With follow-up, you have to take out all the emotions, all the willpower, all the memory, and systematize it as much as you can. The first thing I'm going to do is a simple text hook. In that packet, it'll break that down for you. It'll simply just have you reach out to them and say, hey, I had a quick question. I wanted to know your thoughts on blank. Give me a call when you have a minute. Give them a hook, some reason to follow up with you. The second thing is going to be a video hook, very similar to the text. Go to a neighborhood, turn the camera around, do a 30-second selfie video with a question. And in the packet, it'll break that all down. The third thing is I'm going to send a link to a house. If it's a listing, it might be a comp. If it's a buyer, it might be one they're interested in. But again, you need a hook. Hey, I looked at this. What do you think about picture 7? Or what are your thoughts on the description? Give me a call when you have a minute. You've got to have some type of hook. The next thing is I'm going to send a video of a neighborhood. If they're looking to buy or if they're selling, I'm going to go do a video at 0.5 angle lens of a neighborhood for 30 seconds, send it to them. And again, I have a hook. The last thing I'm going to do, number 5, is something related to the area. Hey, did you guys see this? What are your thoughts? Very simple. You just need to stay top of mind and have some way to reach out and have a touch with them. All right, let's wrap up. Grab your notes. This is what you should have put in here. You should have understood the reason for follow-up, why it's so important, what your competitive advantage would be if you started to have a better follow-up system in place. Then we talked about the funnel. As a marketing agency, you being the product, you have to have a way to reach out and get exposure. Then people are going to reach back, raise their hands. You're going to reach out to them. And then the follow-up game begins. The second funnel is going to tell you exactly what to do with those leads. And then you got to know what to say. Make sure you got the packet. If you have any questions from today, reach out. Nobody trains on this way, but that's why most people that work with me, they absolutely crush it and turn over a lot of deals with the follow-up because of this strategy. But remember, the follow-up is important, but there's nothing more important than having now business. So make sure you go watch all my previous videos in regards to how to go get now business, the lowest hanging fruit in the real estate industry, in your market, but then have a plan to follow up for those that are simply just not ready.